Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. It is GearFest 2014, and we have an extremely special guest with us. This is Bruce Swedien. Bruce, thanks for being here. It's good to see you, my friend.
Mitch, good to see you.
Absolutely. You were on the producer panel, weren't you?
I certainly was. Yeah. I squirtingly was.
Yeah. We were having some fun talking about all kinds of recording stuff, and looking forward to having a little... You're also here signing your books.
Yeah, that's right. I've written a book in the studio with Bruce Swedien and a couple other books. I've recorded a couple of records and a couple artists that...
Maybe people have heard of.
Yeah, maybe. Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Michael Jackson.
All kinds of people. Hundreds and hundreds of them, right?
Yeah,
Nat King Cole?
Nat Cole, yeah. He was great. I also recorded his daughter, Natalie Cole.
Yeah. All kinds of credits you have, and Grammys and awards. And
won 5 Grammys, been nominated 14 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible career.
Well, it's not over, is it?
Absolutely, you're still going.
Yeah.
We were just talking about your console and your studio and stuff, which is a gorgeous room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outstanding. Now, you're actually originally from Minneapolis, sort of up in my neck of the woods up there.
Yeah, you're from Minneapolis?
No, I'm not from Minneapolis. I'm from North Dakota originally.
Wow.
Yeah, just down the road. I spent a lot of time in Minneapolis. Though.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to call it No Place, Minnesota.
Right. And your parents were into classical music, and they got you listening to symphony and things early on.
Yeah. Actually, my mother sang with the women's chorus of the Minneapolis Symphony. And we went every Thursday to hear the orchestra. I think it's very important for young people to know what music really sounds like. You know, it's not in the buttons, it's not in the knobs, it's an acoustical event, and it has to be thought of that way. And the first thing I think, if I was asked to give advice to young people, I would say, go out and find out for yourself what music sounds like. Then talk about recording. Then it's another matter.
Right. Yeah, you had said you can't learn to mix or to make records by listening to records.
You can't do that.
You got to listen to music.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to know what music really, truly sounds like. And also, I want to emphasize the fact, don't play the music too loud. It will, if you once damage your hearing, it's gone forever. What?
Say something. Right, exactly.
Sorry.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So you
actually, let me further emphasize. I think maximum for maybe 10 minutes out of the hour, an SPL of 105 would be plenty. And I normally mix on my Westlake speakers at an SPL of 90.
Okay. You can do that for extended periods of time.
It won't bother your hearing at all.
You're proof.
And you know, I've been in the business a couple of years now, and I'm now 80. Boy, what happened?
Oh, but what great stuff you've seen and done and heard.
Pretty good. Recorded Oscar Peterson. Oscar Peterson was just... I did the composer series with Oscar. Oscar was a huge guy, 6'4", and he could play like nobody else.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me about some of the sessions you had done. You had moved to Chicago, and first at RCA Victor, and then at Universal Recording, correct, with Bill Putnam.
Yeah,
and you were telling me stories of how you were kind of secretly recording things in stereo.
Yeah, the industry moguls didn't think that there was any future in stereo. And of course, we all know that that is not true. And it isn't simply something coming out of one speaker and something else out of another speaker. It's about a stereo image that sounds like music. Because you can never lose the connection with music. That always has to be first and foremost.
Yeah, right.
Real important.
Right, right. Now you also typically you'll stereo mic individual tracks as well. We're not talking about just a stereo mix, but actual individual tracks.
Absolutely. And then in order to support that, those tracks are then kept in stereo right through to the mastering phase.
And what do you find that adds to the whole process?
Space.
Okay.
It is, like, I don't want to keep repeating this, but it isn't just something coming out of one speaker and something else out of another speaker. It's about the music, the support of music. Music first.
Right, absolutely.
Really important.
Right. So those had to be incredible days recording the Chicago Symphony and then the big bands. And I know you told me stories about how they'd play gigs and then come in after the gig and be.
Well, when I did Basie's band with Joe Williams, to get the band when it was all warmed up and really cooking, we'd record. They'd come to the Universal, to the studio, 46 East Walton in Chicago, and we'd record from midnight until dawn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a schedule.
Yeah, and
it was kind of like a live performance, right? They bring people in with them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that shows in those records because
yeah,
it really comes across.
But if I were to cite one individual, that has been most influential, of course it'd have to be Michael, but Duke Ellington probably. As I'd recorded songs like Take the 8 Train and Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me. I mean, what a statement.
Classics.
What a statement.
Yeah.
And
so with an artist like that, was it a first take kind of a thing? You set the band up and
usually, even with Michael, I don't ever remember doing more than 4 or 5 takes with Michael on anything. You know?
Right.
He never sang from the page.
Yeah.
He always sang from memory. He would stay up all night memorizing the lyrics, and then he'd record in the dark. We'd have the lights out in the studio, and Michael would be there, and he'd sing in the dark because he knew those lyrics so flawlessly.
Right.
And also, I never had to use pitch correction. I don't even know if we had that at that time, but I think we did, or some form of it.
Some ways to do it.
Yeah. But now there's too many options, I think. And I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but I've always felt that less is more.
Keep it clean and just present the music.
That's right. It's all about the music. It isn't about the knobs or the buttons or any of that stuff. It's like my new shirt.
I do. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you moved to Los Angeles,
Right.
and if I understand correctly, your connection to Quincy Jones started with The Wiz.
Well, it did, yeah. And with Michael. And because Michael plays the Scarecrow in the Wiz, and the Wiz is the urban version of the Wizard of Oz, and phenomenal. I also worked with Richard Pryor and Lena Horne. Oh, boy,
Yeah.
the most gorgeous woman you've ever seen, and she could sing.
Yeah, great artist.
Yeah.
Great artist.
Yeah.
So tell us about Quincy. What was it like working with him?
Oh, man. Quincy. Boy, they broke the mold. Quincy, first of all, was born in Chicago. And he studied orchestration with Nadia Boulanger,
Wow.
who taught Maurice Ravel.
Yeah.
So Quincy's pedigree in music is just phenomenal. It's incredible.
So a number of years ago, probably 15 years ago, we did a feature at EQ magazine when I was there on your collection of microphones. You know,
I have
beautiful pictures.
105 microphones.
105 microphones.
And many of them I bought new. For instance, I have a U-47 Neumann that I bought new. And at that time, it cost $390.
Wow.
And I've turned down $20,000 for it, but it'd be stupid to sell it. It's a legacy.
And there's so much history in those microphones.
Oh,
The people that have
sung on
performed in
them.
front of you. Yeah.
Yeah, Lena sang on that Neumann microphone. Michael, I did one song. I have another mic that's a little bit peculiar. It's a Shure Sm7, not a 7B. The current one is a pretty decent microphone, but it's not like the original SM7. And I found that the best microphone for Michael was the Shure SM7, and the original one.
So that's an interesting choice because that's a dynamic microphone.
It is a dynamic mic, and everybody would think, oh, you want the best, so it's going to be a condenser? Not so. Not so.
Right.
And another thing I used on Michael quite a bit is my ribbon microphones. I have Royer ribbons, but I also have a bunch of original RCA 44BX and RCA 77DXs that are ribbon mics that sound just gorgeous, just beautiful.
Right. And so he did some of the tracks using those?
Yeah.
How would you choose which one you were going to use?
By the sound.
Okay.
Just you can't pre-think that. You have to put the microphone up, listen to the person sing on it, and then make a judgment. But you can't pre-think. In other words, you can't wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh, boy, I'm going to use my new Shure SM7B on Michael. It's going to be perfect. You can't do that. That isn't the way it works. You have to put the microphone up and listen to it.
Right. What moves you or not.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I find listening to your mixes is they're so broad and so deep, and there's so much clarity on everything. How do you approach getting that soundscape to work so well?
Well, for one thing, I'm a big fan of Bloomline technique, which has a lot of depth. It's a stereo image,
right?
But it was designed by Alan Dower Bloomline, and it has just extreme depth of field, and then keep the sides wide left and right as you can. And all you have to do is turn out the lights. Turn out the lights,
right.
Sit back and groove.
Right. Because you have synesthesia, right?
I do.
You see color from the sounds?
Yeah, it's a peculiar thing. Actually, it can be a pain in the neck sometimes because although it does have the advantage of if I hear a sound and see a certain color, I know it's right. I don't have to think about it.
Right.
It's the way it is.
Right. But it's something I guess you work into your whole process.
Because you can't talk yourself out of it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the way it works.
Right. So when you're building a mix, do you start from the vocal? Do you start from the drums? How do you do that?
I never know.
Never know?
Never know. Yeah, the only thing that has to be there is the emotion of the music. That's the only... Everything else, forget it. It doesn't mean anything. The emotional values of the music. Music is the only true magic in life.
Right. Now you're famous for not being a huge fan of compression and limiting.
No, I hate compression.
Is that right?
I absolutely. If I have a kind of an old saying where I say that compression is for kids.
Yeah.
And I do have compressors and limiters, but don't use them very often. My favorite is the Teltronics.
The LA2A?
LA2A, yes. I have two of those. And also the Uri 1176 is pretty
Kind of the standards. I mean, those
Yeah.
are the ones, right?
You'll find those in any control room.
Right, right. So how do you manage dynamics if you're not using compression and limiting?
Well, you just do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way to say it.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing it with faders?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I always have asked for a copy of the score.
Okay.
And because of my mom and dad insisting that I study piano, I can read music. And though I don't play well, my oldest daughter, Roberta, plays really well, classical. My tendency is towards boogie-woogie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. It's all based on the music. There is nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Right, right. In fact, you named your first book "Make Mine Music."
Make Mine Music. Well,
Right.
that's from a movie.
Is that?
Yeah, it's from that's actually the title of a movie.
But it's still appropriate.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad asked me when I was a youngster, he said, "Bruce, what do you want to do the rest of your life?" His name was Ellsworth W. Swedien.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Make mine music."
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. And your other books you have In the Studio with Michael Jackson,
Right.
which describes your experiences there.
With Michael.
Yeah. And then
He has a great nickname, by the way.
yeah.
And he's a Jehovah's Witness, so he doesn't curse.
Mm-hmm.
And if something is really great or really bad, he would say, "Oh, that's smelly." So after a while, Quincy says, "Your name is Smelly."
Nice.
So we called Michael Smelly.
I'm sure you love that.
Yeah, he did. Oh, Michael was, I'm going to cry. He was so phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see the likes of him.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your third book, which will probably really interest our viewers here, is the Bruce Swedien recording method.
Yeah, right. That's a Hal Leonard
Mm-hmm.
book, and I dedicated it, of course, to Bee, my loving wife of 61 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Which I think is a bit of a record for the music industry.
Probably.
Yeah. But you've met her, you know her, and she's really unique.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
upstairs watching a horse race or something right now.
Right.
So we have horses. We're actually down to one old horse at this time, but
Right. Right, but she enjoys that.
yeah, very
right.
much.
Right, wonderful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned advice for people wanting to get into recording, and you had suggested going to hear live music,
Yeah.
and keeping the music foremost. Anything else you'd like to add?
Go to hear. I should clarify that a little bit. Go to hear live music in an excellent acoustical surrounding.
Mm-hmm.
What I used to do with my mom and dad was we'd go to hear the Minneapolis Orchestra, who was performing in Northrop Auditorium, and gorgeous hall.
Yeah,
Oh,
it really is.
man, just phenomenal. And that sound is still here.
Mm-hmm. Then that gives you a target
Yes.
when you're creating your productions.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. For low end and I can't emphasize enough the fact that less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go crazy and it's not in the buttons and knobs. Successful recordings are not, by successful I mean, I think Thriller is, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's up there. And they all the pundits say that it's going to continue to be the biggest selling record of history in recorded history.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. How wonderful to be a part of that.
Oh, I was
Driving
lucky.
force.
I was at the right place at the right time, but I could deliver the
You were
goods.
prepared.
Yes, I was
you were prepared.
ready.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bruce, thanks so much for spending time with us today.
No, thank
We're
you.
so happy
Mitch.
you're here at GearFest. Such a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Come on. Yeah, okay.
There you go. That worked. You're awesome. We love having you.
Well, you got to admit I'm different.
Well, you're you are Bruce Swedien.
That's right.
What else didn't you say?
Nothing.
So we're going to get you some more onion rings.
Oh,
we're gonna
no, they're
out,
right here.
Yeah, we're going to send you out to sign some more books for people. But pick these books up because they're incredible. You learn from the master when you check out these 3 books. That's absolutely the case.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Such a pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.